Hello and welcome to a VO's Journey. My name is Anthony, and today we're going to be talking about plugins and the ones that, in my humble opinion, I think you should focus on getting, and the ones that you probably can stay away from. Okay, and I think this will help a lot with you getting voiceover work and put your mind at ease. Here's the thing. I think before we go into the plugins, just real quick, make sure that you consider that as you listen to your own work over and over again as a voice actor, you're going to come across biased in your own hearing, meaning like it's going to become something where you feel as if I can't tell anymore if I sound good or not. I need someone to validate whether I believe, like, if I believe I sound good, I need someone to validate for me that that has experience, you know what I mean, that I value their opinion, to say, yeah, this sounds good, or hey, you could work on this, and to see if what I think needs work matches up with what they think work. I'll never forget, real quick story, when I first started, I had been working really hard on trying to get my voiceover my voiceover work to sound good, and the quality of the file. And I remember paying someone, an engineer, to mix the same voiceover file that I did, and then I had my family do like a blind, like they didn't know who mixed what, and I had them listen to both, and I thought surely that mine sounded better than the engineer who had processed it. But my family, they all picked the engineer who had processed my work, not mine. And this was very early on, and it was a very valuable lesson, because I learned that, at that point, my ear wasn't picking up, do you know what I mean, what I thought it was, whereas, it was maybe too heavy. Maybe I liked the sound of it, but the expectations of what people were hearing, right, came across completely different. So that was a very big wake-up call for me to go back to the drawing board and start to seek people's opinions, on my voiceover work, especially people who knew. I know my family, they're not voice actors, but the point I was trying to make is I did not hear what they heard in the extent of, I was struggling figuring out, does this sound okay? Does it need more of this? Does it need less of that? And it takes time, right? It takes time. It takes a lot of listening, a lot of working on your stuff, being a part of a group or community that can help you, like a VO's Journey Elite Academy or wherever, okay, that you can be. That's an important thing, and I just wanted to mention that. So let's get to the plugins real quick. So I think that it is paramount. Well, you know what? It's not paramount. It's so helpful. We're gonna go that way, and I say that because when I first started in voiceover, I did not have any plugins because I didn't know they existed. So everything I did to clean up my audio was done manually. So, like, for example, removing mouth clicks. Because of the auto heal capability in Adobe Audition, which is the DAW I use, I was and spectral frequency display, I was able to go in and manually remove all of my mouth clicks. But you can imagine, I mean, that takes forever. But I didn't know any different. So, I had learned how to do that when it came to breaths. I removed them manually. When it came to background noise, right, I would remove it all manually. Now, you can't do that within your, while you're speaking manually, okay? But you can do it, when you're not speaking, by reducing, the sound, the dB level. So I had done all of this work manually for about 2 years. Then I discovered plugins, and it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. All right, so the plugins that I highly recommend, and it's really super simple. I mean, it's one suite. I think one thing, it's all you need, in my opinion, and that's the iZotope Standard, RX Standard. I think it's RX 10 right now. And once you buy it, you don't need, I mean, like, I still have RX 7. I mean, you don't really need to buy it again for a long, long time, because I use the same ones I bought years and years ago. But basically, RX Standard from iZotope it's a suite. It's a suite of plugins. Unfortunately, they do not have separate plugins. You have to buy the suite. It's typically around like $399. It does go on sale, so watch that. They do have an Elements. Don't buy the Elements. It's like $99 or you're gonna be like, oh, that's the one I want. It's just, no, don't buy that one because it doesn't have everything you need. What the standard has is the mouth declick, which is wonderful. Which gets it's probably one of the I would pay all of that money just for that one plugin because it doesn't degrade your audio and it gets rid of all the mouth clicks. Here's the thing. If you go to use Elements, it will say a declicker in there. But that declicker was made not for mouth clicks. It was made for more like it was made more like records and things like that. But you're looking for the mouth clicks. So it's mouth declick. That's the one in standard that is the gold. It's just gold. It's worth its weight in gold. It has a spectral frequency. It has a spectral denoise, a voice denoise, and it has a whole bunch of other things. It does have a de-esser. Now, I over the years I've learned to manually create my de-esser by specifically targeting my frequencies that I have high sibilance on. But you got to be careful with de-essers because they'll also muffle your audio. I mean, they'll muffle your audio if you don't do it right. So, but anyways, I highly recommend the iZotope RX standard, like RX 10. That's fantastic. And it is a holiday coming up, like Black Friday's coming up. There'll be sales. You could wait to get that. I'm sure it'll be highly reduced. So I would definitely get that. Now, when it comes to other plugins, like compression plugins that do all sorts of EQ and stuff like that, I'm just not a big fan. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not completely wrong. Because if one thing I've learned for certain in my voiceover journey for the last 7-8 years is that it's subjective, just like theater, right? Which I've spent my whole life in. It is subjective, right? I mean, one person can do one thing one way, one person can do one thing another way. That's why mastering is unique to each person or each individual, because the way I master my work could be completely different from the way you master your work. But in the end, we're still reaching the same sort of sound, the quality that we're expecting to reach. Now, you can reach quality, I think, a lot of ways. You can reach quality by a great, which your number one tool is your space. Your space has to be your number one tool. Your equipment. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I started with a $40 microphone, then I upgraded to a couple $100 microphone, and then later down the road, I got a $1,000 microphone, and then now my microphone now is a lot more than that. And my equipment, okay, I realized that you can have all those microphones and you can do things with them. But I have learned that the upgrading your equipment should be your goal, right? That should be the goal before you spend, and I would always recommend that you save money before spending it on other plugins besides the RX suite that I just mentioned. And you save that money to invest in better gear and better acoustical treatment for your spaces. Don't just spend $39 here, $49, $59 here, $100 there. Save it, right? Save it to buy better microphone because plugins are great, but they're a far cry from better equipment and better acoustical treatment in your space. Okay, I mean when it comes to trying to make your whole sound better. Now there's a lot of programs out there too that claim that you just plug in your stuff, you just upload your file and it'll do all of these, make it sound better, analyze it and all this stuff with AI and things like that. I mean, I can't speak to how good or bad these are because I don't use them because I don't need you don't need them, right? If you focus on your space, make it as treated as possible. You know what I mean? You have clean audio, like I said, using like iZotope standard, stuff like that. And you are excuse me, and you're EQing and, and using compression if you need it. Effectively, you don't need, in which you should all be able to do through your DAW. Okay. I'm a big believer now, less is more. I used to be more is more. When I first started, I was doing so much and I had so many things. I had like the is it the DBS 286S? I had, which is a piece of hardware that, it's an extra preamp, but it also has, some knobs for compression and a noise gate and all this stuff. I had all sorts of programs I was running stuff through, and I was editing and mixing my audio like 4, 5, 6 times. I would EQ it, I would reduce the volume, I would EQ it again, I would take out this, it would be EQ'd again. Like it was just compress. I mean, it was every which way instead of, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. So in the end, a simple process, right, of EQ, light compression to give more of just a full body sound depending on your equipment, all right? Then after that, literally, I just go into some cleanup, right? A mouth declick, and I actually use spectral denoise to get rid of some extra noise that's built in, because I have a tube microphone and it can make a little extra noise. But because my space is quiet, I don't have to worry about background noise. Do you know what I'm saying? So like other outside noise. But besides that, I might manually go in and take out some breaths if it's a short commercial kind of thing or something. But I mean, that's it. That's all the work I do. I mean, I've worked very hard to make it that fast and less more to focus on the quality of my space, the quality of my microphone, and the work that I've done vocally, right, to make my voiceover sound well, as opposed to trying to use a lot of post-production. Okay. Now, if I'm going to be creating characters, or there's voice manipulation built into a character, something like that, that's different, right? Because you're going to do that through your DAW. But the way I've kind of laid this out for you, you should be striving for that less is more, right? You don't need more to make your work sound good. And this is where, in the to finish out the video, I think it's really important to find either a group or a coach or someone, that can help you, where you post and you say, hey, can you take a listen? What do you hear? But just as a quick reminder of this, make sure too that you're also sharing your work and taking advice from people who know, and know is a strong word, but that that have been around for a while, because people are going to be willing to help. And they're going to do it out of the kindness of their heart and with no malice, but they might not give you the best advice. And it's not their fault. It's not like they're not trying to give you their best advice. But, a lot of times I see posts, some things, and I'm like, oh, some people are being very helpful, very kind. But some of the advice, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I would give that same advice. And I think that just comes with time, experience, the equipment. Here's another perfect example. I learned this. When when I first started. I listened to everything through a pair of Audio Technica. It was like they were like $30, $40 headphones, and everything. Everything in my headphones sounded horrible, right? I mean, like, I could not think, like, why does it sound horrible, and I couldn't figure it out. Then I would go to my car, and I would like play it through Bluetooth. I'll listen to my car, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it sounds totally different through my speakers in my car. And I just got so tired of it. I just started using the speakers out of my computer, if you can believe that, for a while, because I just didn't know. Finally, I decided that I needed to get some monitors, some JBL monitors, and use them to listen to, the audio. Then I realized my space that I listened to the audio and needed to be treated too. And then I started learning so much more over time. But, you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you don't know what you're listening to, and you don't know how it can sound better. And that's why so many times when someone records a raw file, I'm doing the editing for them, or I'm doing the mastering, I'm like, just send me the raw file. That's why, because, a lot of times that raw file sounds better than a lot of, people's mixes. So you want to make sure that you're not degrading your file. You're doing the bare minimum to it to spruce it up a little bit and clean up a little bit of the back end, but you don't need to do more. All right. And it's that fear that you have to do more that ends up causing your audio to sound worse. All right, I hope that helps. And of course, just like I said in the beginning, this is subjective. These are opinions of mine through the years that I've learned. There's so many better engineers out there than me, and we have one in our academy, Don Barnes, who's incredible. He teaches at Avio's Journey Elite Academy, and it just helps to get that feedback from people who've been doing this for a while and know what they're doing. But anyways, hope this helps for Tech Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you do, and also make sure you check out Avio's Journey Elite Academy. There's a link below, 50% off first month, to give us a shot. Also, we have only 10 days from Avio's Journey Elite Conference 2023. Remember, it's completely virtual. It's a virtual conference, so I mean, you buy it was made. This is our second year doing it. It was made to do all on webinars, right? So online. So there'll be a link below for you to buy tickets. You don't have to leave anywhere. You could be anywhere, watch it on your computer. It's also all recorded, so you have a month afterwards to watch it as much as you'd like. And there'll be a link below for you to buy a ticket. We'd love to have you. 10 days, October 13th through the 15th, is a 3-day event. We have 20 speakers. Amazing. Check out the list. You're going to be really excited, and I hope to see you there. Thank you guys for watching. You have a wonderful Tuesday. Goodbye.